Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for September the 3rd of 2020. And man, is there a lot of big news to dive into for Nintendo fans. Of course, before we get into that, this is the Jampack Report, a daily gaming news podcast bringing you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know from Nintendo and Xbox to PlayStation and PC. We cover the hottest news of the day, and today, the hottest news was Nintendo's Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary Direct. Mario, and more Mario, they write at Eurogamer, and they are spot on. Nintendo has at last lifted the lid on its celebrations for Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary via a Nintendo Direct broadcast stuffed with Mario games old and new. Headlining the announcements was the re-release of Mario's three 3D platforming classics, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. The Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection will arrive on the 18th of September, but will be removed from sale at the end of next March. We'll talk more about that momentarily. Speaking of Mario collections, the original Super Mario All-Stars pack, released back on the SNES, is now available to play via Nintendo Switch Online. Online subscribers will find it in their catalog today, allowing them to once again play Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Bros. 3. A deluxe version of Wii U platformer Super Mario 3D World has also been revealed. This was another announcement which leaked ahead of time. Officially titled Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, the game is a little further away from release. It will arrive on Switch on the 12th of February 2021. On to the surprises, beginning with a competitive multiplayer version of Super Mario Bros. Inspired by Tetris 99, that is Super Mario Bros. 35, where you play against 35 other players to become the last plumber standing. It arrives on the 1st of October and will only be playable until the 31st of March of 2021. Again, this is a bizarre one. A wonderfully inventive augmented reality version of Mario Kart was also revealed. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit lets you drive real Mario Kart toys around your living room via virtual tracks which dunk through and around your furniture. Either a Mario and Luigi toy will ship alongside copies on the 16th of October. Mario Kart Tour, the gacha-filled smartphone version of the series, will meanwhile host an in-game anniversary event from the 9th to the 23rd of September featuring SNES Mario Kart versions of Mario and Donkey Kong to unlock. It was not just Mario software. A dinky Game & Watch Mario Bros. Handheld was revealed to launch on November the 13th, neatly fitting into this year's stocking filler spot previously taken up by the NES and SNES mini consoles. This device will let you play the original Super Mario Bros. Game and will also act as an alarm clock, among other things. Many other Nintendo games will also get in on these celebrations. Super Mario Bros. Ultimate will host an online tournament with classic Mario characters and items in November and December. Super Mario Maker 2 will get an anniversary-themed Ninja Speedrun course in November, and Splatoon 2 will host a Super Mario-themed Splatfest in January 2021. Perhaps most excitingly, Animal Crossing New Horizons fans will be able to add Super Mario-themed furniture to their islands, although not until March of 2021. Physical bits and bobs will be available to purchase from the Nintendo UK store, while Splatfest t-shirts will also be available from the My Nintendo store. The Direct also included a roundup of the various Mario toys and merchandise already launched in the summer, such as the enormous range of LEGO Mario sets and the LEGO NES console, Super Mario Monopoly, and more. Of course, you can watch the entire 35th Anniversary Direct, which lasts for roughly about 15 minutes or so on the official Nintendo YouTube channel. Needless to say, the biggest announcement was the long-rumored, as first reported on by Video Games Chronicle, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and this is a very significant bundle, but it goes away in March. Let's go ahead and talk more about that. No one does things more strangely than Nintendo. In an ambush Mario Direct this morning, the 35th birthday of the world's worst plumber was celebrated with all manner of surprise announcements. The most surprising feature of all began with the two of the products that will be limited time only. Both the triple pack of remastered Super Mario 3D All-Stars and the absolutely bonkers Super Mario 35 Battle Royale come Tetris 99 are going on sale this year and then going off sale again next March. The company is also renowned for doing things differently from everyone else that it's almost too easy to dismiss this and move on. But no, wait a second. They're going to make or port games and then take them off sale after 5 months. That makes no sense whatsoever. While Nintendo certainly do not take kindly to accusations that they might just perhaps somewhat underprovide when it comes to available hardware stock, it is not exactly controversial to suggest it might be true. With every new piece of utterly brilliant hardware they create, they write at Kotaku, having enough of them to sell to the people who want them always seems to be the problem. From the immediate selling out of the Wii to the ridiculous lack of 3DS stock to ongoing issues with Switch availability since its launch, you would think someone at the firm would have maybe looked to address the supply chain problems by now. Nintendo routinely issues statements denying the intentionality of stock shortages, yet never seems to get on top of it. So deliberately introducing scarcity to software as well seems just utterly bizarre, especially when it applies to digital versions of games as well as the plastic boxes your grandparents can tell you about. Because here's the thing about digital versions, there are infinity of them. You could make a sort of back-breaking argument for Super Mario 35's time-limited nature. The batshit concept seems like it had been created uniquely to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Oddjob Brothers, and being digital only, they can try to sell it as an event rather than a product. There is no actually good reason for that, of course. If it's good and it's worth playing, it will be worth playing as much in October 2020 as it would be in April 2021. Sure, such multiplayer efforts have peaks and tails, but maybe they don't foresee it becoming an international esports extravaganza. But it does not exactly scream confidence in the idea if they think no one will want to carry on post March 31st. But there is simply nothing that can explain taking Super Mario 3D All-Stars off of sale. It's 3 games otherwise unavailable on the Switch, spread across 3 previous consoles, none of which can be purchased today. On top of that, they are each upgraded for the Switch with improved resolutions and with Galaxy presumably completely reworked controls. This is the only readily available way to play these games today, and they are unique versions designed for the current-gen Nintendo console, so why in all holy hell would you then take that away from players? Who benefits? It is certainly not the players, but of course it is the publisher. Nintendo stands to gain by forcing people to purchase at full price with no hope of seeing a rare first-party sale price offered at any point during its existence. Far less chance of finding the game available pre-owned in any remaining stores, and no waiting it out to see if it gets a reduction in the future. Is that their motivation here? To create a completely artificial scarcity, remove something infinitely duplicable from sale and no other reason than to pressure their customers? We reached out to Nintendo to find out, but there was no immediate response, they write at Kotaku. Maybe there will be yet another surprise come next April. Perhaps they will pull all 3 up for sale individually, although pretty much any approach to this will only serve to further piss off those who felt the need to buy it ahead of such changes. Knowing Nintendo, they will do something even more inexplicable that only their imaginations could divine. Of course, the article is a bit emotional, but it gets the point across. I do not understand the approach of making 3 games that people have been wanting since the launch of the Nintendo Switch available and then pulling them down roughly 6 to 8 months after they are released. That does not make sense to me. Again, we are talking about Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, all bundled together for $60. Now, over the course of the next few months, this game is going to sell incredibly well. It is going to do huge numbers this holiday season, and this will sell hardware. But I cannot fathom why they would stop selling it in March of 2021. That is ridiculous. On top of that, one other small thing that gets under my skin a bit is the fact that Super Mario 64 is a direct port. Now, it has been up-resed, it does look very sharp, it's crisp, whatnot, but this game should, at this point, be rebuilt on a new engine. You should get a full remake of Super Mario 64. The same could be argued for Super Mario Sunshine. It's a bit ridiculous that these games are getting this big bundle, but they aren't getting the treatment they deserve, like we see with this year's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. These games are legendary, and of course, Super Mario 64 is much more influential than Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Outsource the content if you have to, but make a remake maybe built on the Super Mario Odyssey engine. That would be phenomenal. But that is just my 2 cents on that one. It is wild to me to see that Nintendo is doing so well, yet for some reason they are so off base when it comes to how they are releasing these games. But don't get me wrong, still very impressive. However, another very impressive piece of news, The Last of Us Part 2 has overtaken Ghost of Tsushima and God of War for the most completed PS4 game. Finishing a game these days is not always an easy task. When life takes over, that includes work, personal life, and other distracting elements, getting to the end of a 20 to 30 hour game can leave you feeling a little exhausted. But when the game is as good as The Last of Us Part 2, putting in that extra time is certainly worth a lot of time, and it seems a lot of players agree according to a screenshot for the data for The Last of Us Part 2's trophy system. The Last of Us Part 2 can be completed anywhere between 20 and 40 hours, depending on how much time you take within its world, and if you try to get as many of the goals needed to grab yourself the platinum, even though it will take another playthrough to get them all. Getting to the end of the title story, even just once, will still see you granted the What I Had to Do trophy, where you will also see how rare this is compared with, even to other players. In this screenshot provided by Ungeek, you will notice that 58% of gamers have obtained it, meaning that compared to the likes of God of War and Final Fantasy VII Remake, who has a 51.8 and 53.3% rate of completion respectively, The Last of Us Part 2 overtakes it by quite a bit. Even the hard-hitting and popular PS4 titles such as Days Gone and Horizon Zero Dawn have only managed to gain a completion rate of around 34%. For comparison, check out the completion rates of other PS4 games. Some very big highlights include God of War at 51.8%, Marvel's Spider-Man at 50.7%, Uncharted Lost Legacy at 50.3%, which it is worth noting is a very short game, Ghost of Tsushima at 38.2%, and even Red Dead Redemption 2 at 28.6%. Of course, Death Stranding sits at 29.3%. This, of course, is not, at the time of this writing, very good when it comes to the completion rates here, but, of course, they are always fluctuating, always changing, and it is also worth mentioning that other PS4 titles are not included in the list, and these are also only based on the trophies given for completing the story of each game. But regardless, even with The Last of Us Part 2's complex and uncompromising storyline, this did not turn a lot of players off amidst the criticism, and they felt compelled to see the story through. Now, I am one of those that did complete the game, and I must say that it is very straightforward. Again, this trophy is one that is not difficult to achieve. As long as you finish the story, you get the trophy. So this just means that a little over half of the people that played the game, 58% or so, actually finished the game. That's kind of sad, but at the same time, I totally understand. But that just goes to show how good The Last of Us Part 2 is. It keeps people gripped. And again, Uncharted Lost Legacy is a very short game. I finished it literally in 24 hours. I kid you not. I played it directly through. I played probably 12 hours just to explore it and see what the world had to offer, and then I took it back to Redbox when Redbox was still doing that, yet I still completed the game. And so that shows the investment that people have. And so The Last of Us Part 2 continues to be a very impressive title in the lineup for the PlayStation 4. But to round out today's show, No Man's Sky studio Hello Games is working on a huge, ambitious game. There are very few games that have followed the trajectory of No Man's Sky. The hype was huge, the launch a letdown, and then over the course of 3 years, fans went from demanding special exceptions for refunds on Steam to paying for a full-size thank you billboard. It's one of the best comeback stories in video game history. Hello Games recently released Last Campfire, a very different and much smaller sort of experience, but the studio is not sticking to that style of game alone from here on. Founder Sean Murray told Polygon that the studio is currently planning another huge, ambitious game like No Man's Sky. He did not reveal anything about it, except for the detail that some people at the studio are currently working on this big game, but he did share some thoughts on lessons learned from the launch of No Man's Sky, including that, in the end, he did not really regret the path it took. Quote, "There is this poison chalice or deal with the devil that I think any indie game developer would find actually a very difficult choice. The choice that we had with No Man's Sky, where if I was to go back again, I would find it very difficult to know what the right path was. Where you will have incredible interest in your game, you will have a huge amount of excitement for it, but you will be in a rocket ship launching towards the sun, and you will be building that rocket on the way up. And there is an excitement and a craziness to that. Where we've ended up with the game, where we've had hundreds of millions of hours played and a really happy community and all of that kind of thing, I'm okay with that deal that we did, right? The deal is presumably a reference, at least in part, to Hello Games' marketing partnership with Sony, which included the game in its 2014 presentation at E3. I don't agree with this interpretation of this discussion from Andy Chalk at PC Gamer. I think that the deal is just a hypothetical, I suppose, representation of the entire course of actions that the game itself took. But of course, the game was marketed at E3 2014, and then it was in development for years. Then it hit, was not great, and they continued to build it up year after year. But the main story here is that No Man's Sky studio Hello Games is working on a huge, ambitious game. No Man's Sky was pretty huge, pretty ambitious, and it did turn out to be a fairly solid experience, even though there had to be some work done on the back end to get it there. But ultimately looking forward to seeing what the team has come up with as the years go on and as development continues. But with that being said, that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today. But specifically, what do you think about that 35th anniversary Super Mario Bros. Nintendo Direct? Are you looking forward to these games? How do you feel about the timed availability? Not even exclusivity, but availability, and anything else you might take away from the show? I would love to hear your thoughts. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.